2020 was supposed to be the best year of our lives. We rang in the new year with high hopes. Little did we know how drastically things would change. We heard reports of COVID-19 spreading, and we watched in fear as case numbers were continually rising. Lockdowns and panic plagued the evening news.
Breaking news tonight, the urgent new coronavirus warning.
Hospital systems are simply overwhelmed.
A ninth person has tested positive for coronavirus.
Coronavirus.
Little did we know that our extended March break would turn into months of homeschooling, widespread business shutdowns, a shortage of essentials, and needing government assistance to pay our bills. Where is God in the uncertainty? We dreamt of the perfect wedding, looked forward to the holiday we saved up for all year, and anticipated being among the crowds cheering on our favorite band. Little did we know our families would be celebrating from afar, airports would be empty, and the concert halls would be silent. Where is God in our disappointment? When we've gone months without a single hug, and our only human connection is through a screen. Where is God in our loneliness? When those who inspire us are gone too soon, where is God in the loss? When lives are torn apart due to anger, hatred, and division, where is God in the injustice? When fire, storms, and bombs ravage communities around the world, where is God in the chaos? And yet we learn to adapt in the unexpected, embrace the value of home, and appreciate the beauty around us. We've learned to treasure the time spent with family and found creative ways to reach out to others. Though things are drastically different, as we reflect this Christmas and celebrate our traditions in unique ways this year, one thing doesn't change. In the middle of all this tension, there is hope.
Majesty in the middle of my chest is the King of Kings. While the world was waiting on a change to come along, coming like a song. In the middle of the night, you are Majesty. In the middle of our plight came the King of Kings. While we were waiting on your love to come along, light
Hi there, and welcome to Christmas at Hope City Church. My name is Phil Kniesel, and I'm the lead pastor. And you are most likely joining us from your home. Maybe you've got the fireplace going, maybe you're around the tree, you've got some eggnog, your family is with you. And from all of us here, we are just so happy that you have joined us for Christmas 2020. And I know I just said 2020. It's almost like a cuss word these days. What a year it has been, right? If you're like me, it sure felt a lot like the song we just heard. We are living in the middle of the night. It was a crazy, hard year. Who would have thought basics like toilet paper would be something we all would be scrambling to buy? I mean, even now, it's still tough to get. I shop at Costco, and don't judge me for that, but for the last, and are you ready for this? For the last 6 times that I've been there, they've been out of toilet paper. And so I finally just asked them, what's the deal? And the employee told me that each day they only put out 1 skid of toilet paper, first thing in the morning, and if you want some, you need to come within the first 1.5 to 2 hours of opening. And then I'm like, don't you have more skids of it in the back? And you know what he told me? Yeah, we do. We have lots in the back. And then I'm thinking, do you see what you're doing here? You're feeding this frenzy. And then I was like, dude, can you just go get me a pack? Sir, you need to come first thing in the morning. Hey, have you seen the emoji of the year? Supposedly it's coming out in the months ahead. There was this contest to create an emoji for 2020, and this is what won. We all kind of feel that way, don't we? From the COVID pandemic, to economic and racial turmoil, to epic wildfires, to an emotionally charged presidential election, to a potential third wave, to being at home with less family and friends for Christmas, to a mad rush to get toilet paper. We just kind of go. In fact, a runner-up in the same competition is this emoji, the spiral eyes. Spiral eyes say, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed to the point of feeling lost and incapable of perceiving the world. Spiral eyes say, I'm feeling a little out of sorts right now. Spiral eyes ask God, are you even here in this chaos? You know, in the Christian tradition, Christmas celebrates Jesus coming to earth. It's in the middle of the night that Jesus came. He came into the darkness and a light shone through. Can you see it? It tells us hope does exist. Have you experienced it? Jesus, God's Son, also called Emmanuel, which means God with us, He has come. And that should make all the difference for you. And I wonder, does it? Will it? And could it?
Well, hey, my name's Ryan, and we're going to be singing some Christmas carols together right now. Whether you're at home or watching this on your phone, we want you to sing at the top of your lungs. We wish you were here with us, but celebrate with us anyways. Let's sing.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. We will sing, sing, sing. Joy to the world. We will sing, sing, sing. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders, wonders of his love. Oh, we will sing, sing, sing. Joy to the world. We will sing, sing, sing. Oh, Oh, joy to the world. We will sing, sing, sing.
Reconciled, joyful all ye nations rise, join the triumph of the skies, with angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Glory to the King. Christ by highest heaven adored, Christ the everlasting Lord. Late in time, behold him come, offspring of the Virgin's womb. Veiled in flesh, the Godhead see. Hail the incarnate deity. Pleased as man with men to dwell. Jesus our Emmanuel. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn Hail the heaven-born Prince of Peace. Hail the Son of Righteousness. Light and life to all he brings, risen with healing in his wings. While he lays his glory by, born that man no more may die, born to raise the sons of earth, born to give them second birth. Hark the herald angels sing, glory hearts to love one another. His law is love, and his gospel is peace. Chains shall he break, for the slave is our brother, and in his name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chorus raise we with all our hearts. Praise his holy name. Christ is the Lord. Oh, praise his name forever. His power and glory evermore proclaim. His power and glory evermore proclaim. Oh, fall on your knees. Oh, hear the angels' voices. Oh, night they burn. Oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, night divine. Oh, night divine.
In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to their own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger because there was no guest room available for them. And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I will bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger." Suddenly, a great company of the heavenly host appeared with the angel, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth peace to those on whom his favor rests." When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let's go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has told us about." So they hurried off and found Mary and Joseph and the baby who was lying in the manger. When they had seen him, they spread the word concerning what had been told them about this child. And all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds said to them. But Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things they had heard and seen, which were just as they had been told.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyous strains prolong? Would the gladsome tidings be, which inspire your heavenly song, singing birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee, Christ the Lord, the newborn King. Gloria, Gloria in excelsis Deo, in excelsis Deo. Gloria, Gloria in excelsis Deo, in excelsis Deo. In excelsis Deo.
Have you ever noticed that a lot of the Christmas songs which tell the story of Jesus' birth talk about how he came in the night? Here's what I mean. Silent Night, Holy Night. It came upon a midnight clear. O Little Town of Bethlehem is all about the nighttime, and you heard it in the song earlier, O Holy Night. The angel, he showed up to the shepherds at night. There was something that broke through in the night. Light broke into darkness. And that should make all the difference for me and for you. But does it, will it, and could it? I find the Christmas truce of 1914 to be one of the coolest stories. It was Christmas Eve, and the British and German troops, they were at war. They were opposite each other in trenches, waiting for someone to make the first move. And as the evening went on, the British troops could hear the Germans singing Christmas carols and songs, and they saw lanterns and small fir trees along their trenches. And they then began shouting messages to each other. And then the following day, which was Christmas Day, the two sides met in what's called no man's land and exchanged gifts. They took photographs, they showed each other pictures of home, and they played this impromptu game of soccer. They also buried casualties and repaired their trenches and dugouts together. Now, war has to be the most craziest of times, and yet Christmas broke through the worst situation. What is it about Christmas that does this? Frank Cross in the movie Scrooge said this: "It's Christmas Eve. It's the one night of the year when we all act a little nicer, we smile a little easier, we cheer a little more, and for a couple of hours out of the whole year, we are the people that we always hoped we would be." Long before Jesus was born, a writer called Isaiah penned the following words: "The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of deep darkness, a light has dawned." And notice the night analogy here again. There is something that has pierced the night. There is something that has come to lift the darkness. And Isaiah goes on, he says, "For to us a child is born, to us a son is given." And he's referencing Jesus here. "And the government will be on his shoulders." And he says he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. That something that broke into the night is a someone. It is Jesus. And listen to what's said about him. 4 attributes. He is our wonderful counselor, our mighty God, our everlasting Father, and our Prince of Peace. 4 attributes that help make all the difference for us. Wonderful counselor. Counselor being someone who teaches us, who guides us, and can give us a roadmap on how to live wisely. I also love that he's called wonderful. Isn't this the year we all need a little more wonderful? You know, a lot of times it's the little things that make life wonderful. It's in the hug from one of our favorite people. It's in the sip of hot chocolate around the fire. It's in the laughing of friends and family that warms our heart. It's in the gaze of a newborn child. Wonderful. For me, wonderful is often what I feel when I remember the good times my family has had. I actually love looking through photo albums and just pondering the moments and the special times and seasons that we have experienced. Jesus is called Wonderful Counselor. He never lets us down. He's beyond words. He's extremely good, and he brings that good into our lives, into the night that we feel is never ending. And here's what I mean, and these are his words, not mine. Healthy people don't need a doctor, sick people do. I have come to call not those who think they are righteous, but those who know they are sinners. In other words, he's saying, I'm not wonderful for people who think they have it all together. I came for those who want to get it together. I came for those who feel like the night is long and the day isn't coming. I came for those who have everything and yet are missing something. I came for you. I came to bring wonderful into your life. He will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God. This tiny child in a manger is mighty? You know, mighty is the ability to do things by virtue of strength or authorization. And that was Jesus. He consistently did things that were outside of the bounds of the normal laws of nature. He fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. He calmed a raging storm. He turned water into wine. He healed sickness. He did mighty things. Really, what he did was he made the impossible possible. And there's some of you watching right now, and you just need a miracle. You need something big to happen. You're in a situation where you need a mighty God to intercept your life. Maybe you're dealing with a daunting health issue. Maybe you're wondering, how in the world are you going to face Christmas without a loved one in your life? Maybe you have so many questions about who God is. Is he real? Can you relate to him? What is Christianity all about? He came to make the impossible possible. Jesus came as God incarnate to illustrate what God was like for us, to show us that He is mighty. God Himself said these words, "I'm the Lord, the God of all humankind. Is anything too hard for me?" Whatever it is that you might be facing, Jesus has come as your mighty God who can intervene, who can give you hope, who can walk with you, who can carry you, provide for you, sustain you, heal you, encourage you, and empower you. A mighty God does these things for us. So He will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God. And the third thing Isaiah says is He is the everlasting Father. Everlasting meaning He is the eternal one, meaning we can hope for things, and a lot of times these things don't last, but He's the one who we can always trust and the one who always lasts. Everlasting meaning He wants to help us see beyond the here and now. And not that the here and now isn't important, it's very crucial. But of the same importance is having an eternal perspective. James, he's a writer in the New Testament of the Bible, and he said it this way: how do you know what your life will be like tomorrow? Your life is like the morning fog. It's here a little while, then it's gone. I don't know about you, but the older you get, for me at least, I realize life is pretty short. And Jesus came to provide an eternal perspective, but in that, He also gives us an eternal promise. He says, "Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you." And that's a promise that says, hey, I've got your back, I've got your future, but I have your eternity. I've got your yesterday, but I also have your today and tomorrow. John, he's also a New Testament writer. He said this: "This is the promise which He Himself made," He being Jesus, "eternal life." And for a moment here, I just want you to look at this rope. I have a knot here, right in the middle of the rope. And the knot, it represents our life, and the rope represents eternity. And God's saying, I'm the everlasting one, and I want you to see beyond this right here. And I get it, this at times, it's good. Like it can be really good. This also at times is tough, and it can be really tough. This is the very night Jesus came to pierce. And He's saying to us, try to keep a 10,000-foot view. Try to remember beyond this is forever. You know, God so loved the world, so loved you that He sent His Son that whoever believes in Him will not perish, but have what? Eternal life. You know, Jesus has come, and that makes all the difference for you. But does it? Will it? And could it? He is the Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, and fourthly, the Prince of Peace. And I don't know about you, but these days I need peace. There's so much that fills me with anxiety, with fear, and sometimes with stress. When is COVID gonna slow down? What's 2021 gonna hold for us? What's next for my kids? There are times when I feel just defeated and tense. I mean, just even hearing the word peace is just calming. It feels sometimes like a wish too good to be true. And our world is definitely leaning away from peace rather than towards it. Think of the racial tensions we've seen and experienced. Think of the political battles we're witnessing. Think of even people's responses to our government's stipulation on COVID. We're just lacking peace, and yet we're told that Jesus, He is our Prince of Peace. So what am I saying? I'm saying you don't need to be living with this sinking feeling in your gut all the time. I'm saying you can honestly laugh out loud without feeling like the next moment you need to cry. I'm saying it's possible to walk with a trust, this calming assurance into this next year. And for some of you, peace is the biggest thing you need right now, but it kind of seems and feels like a dream. And because of that, we try everything to escape for a bit, and I get it, but we always end up feeling the same after. Jesus, He said it this way: I'm leaving you with a gift, peace of mind and heart. And the peace I give is a gift the world cannot give, so don't be troubled or afraid. Peace is this gift. You know, the best present you can open this Christmas is the peace that comes from Jesus. It allows you to walk through the night, through the trouble, through the fear, without being overwhelmed by it. Paul, he's also a writer in the Bible, and he wrote it this way: and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. He will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. That's the difference Jesus makes. He's the light of the world. He's the hope in the darkness. He's everything you've been looking for, waiting for, and wanting. He's the miracle we all need. He is God with us. Jesus has come, and it makes all the difference for you, but I wonder, does it, will it, and could it? Friend, this Christmas, experience the thing you were made for. Experience a relationship with God through faith in His Son, Jesus Christ. Experience a life change that lasts forever. Experience your night being pierced with the light of the world.
The world waits for a miracle. The heart longs for a little bit of hope. Oh come, Emmanuel. A child prays for peace on earth, and she's calling out from a sea of hurt. Oh come, Emmanuel. And can you hear the angels singing glory to the light of the world? Glory, the light of the world is here. Child breaks with the tears of a mother. A baby's cry is a sound of love. Come down, Emmanuel. Oh, here's a sound for the suffering. Here's Messiah, the Prince of Peace has come. He has come, Emmanuel.
Let me pray for you. God, I thank you that you sent Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us, as the hope for our lives. I thank you that in this crazy season of the world, in this crazy season that we're walking through, we can have a peace that passes understanding. I thank you, Jesus, that you are known as our wonderful counselor, our mighty God, our everlasting Father, and our Prince of Peace. And I pray for that individual who might be watching right now, who just needs a miracle, who just needs something from you, God. May they experience your presence and your coming in a mighty and real way this Christmas. I pray that you help all of us recognize that we can reach out to you when we're tense. We can reach out to you when we're feeling afraid. We can reach out to you to help with our anxiousness, and you bring that peace into our lives. And I just thank you that you give us that eternal perspective, that you love us and that you came for us. And I pray for every person that's watching right now that they sense you, that this reality of Christ coming to earth might just surround their hearts, their minds, their lives, and their family during this Christmas season. And God, we just want to commit ourselves to you. We want to say we want this in our lives. And no matter where we're at in the spectrum of faith, on this day we say we believe in you. We need you in our lives. We need you daily. And so we ask you to come in. We ask you to make a difference. And we want to walk and spend our days knowing and following you. And so this Christmas, we make that commitment. We make that adjustment. And we say inside of our hearts and in our minds, Jesus, come inside of my life and help me to follow and live for you. And I pray this in your awesome and powerful name. Amen. I want us to take out a candle. And you were given some notice at the start of our time together that we will be doing this. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to light it. And by the way, if you have kids with you, make sure you help them. We don't want anything going wrong with this in your home. But as you light it, recognize the symbolism of what you are doing. We do this to represent that Jesus, the light of the world, the hope of the world, has come. And you know what light does, right? It pierces the darkness. It takes away darkness. And as you light your candle on this Christmas, remember who Jesus is and the difference he makes. He brings wonderful, he is mighty, he is everlasting, and he gives us peace. I think it'd be kind of cool if you could turn off the lights in your house. It just gives a neat effect. And recognize that in homes all across this great city and country of ours right now, people are joining you in this act. So take this moment in. Allow it to bring a peace and a calmness and a stillness to your life. Jesus, the light of the world, has come. And as you do this, join us in singing the song, Silent Night.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm and all is bright. Round yon virgin mother and Lord, at thy birth.
I can kind of get lost looking into a flame. There's a calming thing about this. You know, your light represents that Christ has come for you. Your light represents that Jesus came into a dark world to pierce the darkness and to bring you hope. That he wants to do life with you, that he is your wonderful counselor, your mighty God, your everlasting Father, and your Prince of Peace. This is a holy night. Okay, I'm gonna say we can blow out our candles now before we have the fire stations in all our neighborhoods showing up at our doors. You know, you did a good thing by joining us for church on Christmas Eve. And if you want to explore a little bit more about faith in Jesus and what that means for you, I'm going to ask you to go to hopecity.ca/life. There we have a digital booklet for you to download that talks a little bit about what it means to know and follow Jesus. And you can also connect with someone on our team. By the way, we'd love to walk this road with you. We really believe that following Jesus is the best decision anyone can make, and you can find everything you need right on that landing page. If you have a home church, make sure you engage with it in the coming year. That's also a good thing. And if you don't have a home church, you gotta know this. We would love to be your church. We would love to see you connect each week. Thank you for spending your Christmas Eve with us. On behalf of myself and all of us here at Hope City Church, Merry Christmas and God bless.